Ed, before we start,
Yes.
we have a minute or two. Linda at Gino came down and asked me how to get a thing for a facade.
Mm-hmm.
Is she in that area?
We'll have to check the,
I
have to
looked
check the
over
border.
from my map and I
I
couldn't
don't
find
think
it.
so.
Yeah, I think it's outside.
I think it's outside.
I
It's
thought so
outside.
too, but I wasn't sure. And I thought, well, before she goes through all of that, I should let her at least know, right?
Yes.
That little map, you can't tell.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah.
Or I thought, well, he's still writing down notes.
Going to a commissioner's meeting the night before.
Oh, I can imagine.
So since I am no longer on the chair, Felix told me, thanks a lot, I don't sleep anymore. I said, well,
Good for you.
All right.
Welcome, huh?
Yeah. Well, it is time to begin. So today is August the 11th, 2022. It is 5:30 p.m. This is the work session of the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. And as we begin, item number 1 on the agenda, I would like to introduce and welcome our newest member to the board, Mr. Jerome Bagley. We had the opportunity to speak with him last month, so I think we have an idea of who he is, what he does, and what he's going to assist us with here.
Okay.
So I'll reiterate some of the stuff I said in the past. Commissioner Bagley, one of the things, and I'm going to get myself into it again, when speaking tonight and addressing, please speak as loudly as possible, clearly and into the mic, so that everybody can hear. The recordings can pick it up, and we'll know who it is that's speaking. One of the things I could also emphasize is, as we conduct business tonight, we do it in order. So I will either start on one side of the room or the other, but we have to do it as recognized by the chair, so that we can be able to keep order and be able to record and know who is speaking as we go. And I'll remind everybody that only those things contained on the agenda are open for discussion. So anything else, I mean, any side notes, we can't. But you know, to conduct an open meeting that is transparent, we speak of and address only those things that are on the agenda. If something comes up, that will be something that we take to another meeting and will be placed on for discussion. So again,
May I say something now?
yes, sure. No, you may.
I just wanted to say thank you, and it's an honor to be with you all, and also to say that I will, as I look at the volume after volume of this and view this, I will hope to digest a lot of understanding tonight more than anything. So my participation might be a weird look from time to time. So, but anyway, I do have some questions here, possibly along the line, but for the most part, it's just kind of feeling my way through. But I want to say it's an honor to be here, and I want to participate where I can. So thank
We
you.
appreciate it. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome to the Wolf's Den.
Okay, moving on to item number 2 this evening. As everybody is aware, we did receive a resignation from the position by Commissioner Carol Bolton. So that position remains open, and therefore it is required that we have a vice chairman, and for the Urban Renewal Authority, not only by state statute, but as well as our bylaws. So on the work session, or on the regular agenda this evening, there is a place in under new business where we will entertain and we will elect a vice chair for the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. So hopefully everybody knows about that, kept that in mind, and has some idea for when we approach that part of business.
Yeah.
Any questions on that?
no, just a question for the password for the Wi-Fi for Commissioner Cochran. Can you write it down and bring it up to us, Brittany? Or?
Do you happen to know what the password is for the Wi-Fi at your company?
I used to, but I don't remember it for sure.
Right, trick management.
Would Brittany know?
Hey, Brittany. one of the commissioners needs to get on Wi-Fi here, but we don't know what the Wi-Fi password is.
I honestly don't either. They keep changing it on me.
Okay.
I can try and call Kimberly and see if she knows it. Would that help?
Yes, it would be.
Okay.
You're on number 2.
We're on item number 2. So the election of vice chair. So item number 3 is the, I'll have to remove go to some glasses that I can read with a little bit better.
Well, have we elected?
We will.
Yeah,
We will do that under new business on the regular agenda this evening.
It's just a work session.
Item number 3 is a facade improvement application that we have, we deferred from the July meeting for payment till now in August. There was a lack of documentation which we have been provided by a representative of SCRT, Gloria Hall, who is with us this evening. The initial amount for the request by SCRT, and all this was in your agenda already, so I'll just go ahead and make it so it's publicly known. The initial request for the SCRT Main Street Live application was $2,862, which was 25% of the project estimate of $11,450. The final invoice for the facade renovation amounted to $7,985, which is a good thing for the applicant. The work was performed by another painting firm for which a project was done for a substantially lower amount. The facade improvement incentive program allows for funding of up to 25% of the total project cost to a maximum of $10,000 in funding. With the lower cost of the project, the 25% totals to $1,996.25. In the packet is a copy of the email. Mrs. Hall did provide an explanation of the changes and indicated that she would be here this evening. Mrs. Hall, would you like to say anything, or have I covered it adequately?
I think you've covered it. You know, it's obviously a little disappointing that we are not going to have 2,800, but then we have less out of our pocket as well.
Come forward.
But anyway, it's done. It's beautiful. We're just having comments all over the place.
Identify yourself just for the record.
Okay, my name is Gloria Hall. I'm the president of the board of directors at SCRT Main Street Live.
We did, and you driving by, those of us that go through Camelot, we'll know that it turned out very nice. It's you know, from what it was to what it is, it turned out very nice, and so it complements the block.
Yes.
And you know, it was nice to see that you got it for a substantially lower amount, and the quality is excellent.
I know. I was very surprised, actually. I got another bid because I thought I was going to try to get 3 bids. I was going to go for a TCF grant to supplement, and I needed 3 bids, but I didn't have time to get 3 bids for TCF before the deadline. So anyway, but the second one we got was so much lower, we just had to go with that one. So, and then we had an article in the paper, and of course, TURA was mentioned, and we had our sign in the window, and so anyway.
Well, we appreciate that they got done, and again, the discussion is you know, because the program guidelines allow for 25%, so you know, and it's based on project costs, so that's where that falls in.
Understand?
Right. Thank you. And we will have it on our regular meeting tonight as old business for its approval of the amount that the commissioners.
Okay. All right.
So
and then
there will be a check cut on Monday. Finance director, who she and I sign off on the check. She will not be available tomorrow, but those checks will be available, and I'll make sure that we can communicate on Monday so I can put that check in your hand.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
Nice.
All right.
Thank
you so much.
It looks
Appreciate
beautiful.
It.
It looks really good.
Thanks. I just, it's wonderful.
Okay.
What a
I
joy.
wish we could do all the rest of the building. Thank you so much.
Mr. Cock. Mr. Cock.
Commissioner.
The Wi-Fi?
Short break here while we get Commissioner Cochran connected.
Right here.
And then 2 capital R's.
Simpsons Rest.
1. Capital S, capital R, all one word.
Then I can make my own notes.
Once it gets it in there, it'll remember it forever.
Yeah, it's just so I can pull up my agenda. Because it's still in space.
You good now?
I am. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Brittany.
Thanks, Brittany. Okay, well, with that discussion concluded with Gloria Hall leaving, but I will go around and see if anybody has any comments, questions or comments. So I will start to my far right. Commissioner Howlett, do you have any questions on that? I did provide it to everybody. There was an attachment which outlines the facade program that we have. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know what words you want to call it, but we from its original adoption to what we have now, we've had to make amendments as time has gone on for various reasons. So the packet that the information or the attachment that you had is the most recent amended copy as of May of 2022.
No, I didn't, again, great packet, good information. I was able to go through that. I do have a question, not specifically to the Main Street thing, but a question with regards to the spot grants,
right,
since that stuff was there.
Right.
And it kind of has to do with, again, it seems like there are opportunities for folks to take a slot, to almost get a slot in the facade grant process, but not fulfill all their documentation in a period of time. And with limited funds, you would think that there needs to be maybe some time period for somebody to actually put in an application, start in the process, provide the documentation they've done that, because it does stop maybe some other folks who would qualify from doing it with limited funds.
I believe it is in there. That was one of the amendments that was made. We've got a 90-day time frame.
So the ones that were here that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, or last meeting, those are probably coming up on the expiration of that.
Well, they were approved, or they were in the door prior to the amending of the 90-day. The money that was approved, or the anticipated of what might be approved on one of them, those were carryovers from the 2021. We brought them into the 2022 budget, so we didn't allocate any more. We brought forward, it's like $12,000, I believe, that those two. One of them was approved at $8,000. The other one is like $4,400. I don't remember exactly what it is, but those two were carried over into this year. So that's money that was budgeted in 2021, brought it into 2022 because one was approved, the other one it's still pending. Basically, it's still pending for that. That's one of the reasons that we amended the document, was to say it had to be shovel ready and commencing no later than 90 days.
Very good, thank you.
So that, yeah, it was written in there.
I've read it in one place, but it looked like it was not being done, so appreciate it.
That's one of the reasons that it was done.
And do we have new applicants, or are we still working with the same applicants?
Who's the most? I think SCRT is the most recent applicant.
That was it?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, and what a success.
That's one. And
good investment.
Yeah. One of the other applicants that we did fund and pay would be the building over on the 100 block of East Main Street, 135. There's a place called the Mutiny Cafe, and the other cafe that's been there. So that was part of it. We funded that one a year ago. That was at $10,000.
Yeah.
So that's one of them. We had various applications, and I think you'll see on the bottom of that application, that was applicant number 7. We've had a couple that did come through the door. They basically had to be, taken to rest because it was one, and actually for that old Presbyterian church on the 200 block of North Commercial Street. It was way into the future before anything was ever foreseeable to happen. They did withdraw their application.
Okay.
So it's been a mixed bag of things, but we have funded, you can see 2 of the completed products out there, which are
great products,
very nice
projects. Yeah,
very nice.
Good job.
But you bring up a valid point. If we're holding on to one, waiting, then we're not allowing others to apply. So that's why those were implemented 6 months ago or so. Yeah.
And did we not discuss something at the last meeting in regards to sending out a letter?
That has to do with something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was brought up.
That's all for me.
Okay. Commissioner Cochran, anything?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Lopez? Commissioner Leone? Commissioner Baker?
Doing good.
All right, so that addresses item number 3 on the facade application, and it will be on the regular meeting tonight for approval of the funding. And the amount that's on there that I have noted is based upon the reduced amount of the project, which is 20%, 25% that maxes out. Okay? All right. Item number 4. This one is one that takes a lot of discussion, I guess, and it will be ongoing. At the last meeting of TURA, commissioners were advised that the year-to-date TIF received from the Los Angeles County Treasurer was substantially less than that received at the end of June of 2021. Los Angeles County Treasurer Donald Leonetti provided information indicating that the tax calculation has changed for the year 2022, which results in a reduced amount of TIF to be collected by TURA. And for that, you refer to the information I sent last month that had highlights of those particular areas. I did meet with Los Angeles County Assessor Jody Amato, and she provided additional information related to the reduction, which includes a higher personal property exemption than in the past, as well as other factors which are related to assessment and calculations. She has agreed to be here at the September 8th meeting. We will discuss that information and any other questions that Commissioner of TURA may have. Now, in the packet I did provide, because Commissioner Los Angeles County Assessor provided a substantial amount of information. It's a schedule of properties that are within the TURA district. Now, all of those that appear on there are subject to being for the TIF. So the TIF applies only to properties that are classified as commercial or industrial, and there's one other classification, I can't remember what it is. But she will go into a little bit more detail on that. In the packet of information that I included, I also included a copy of her email to me, which gave some explanation to that. And one of those things that she included, and when we were in our discussion, she did say that one of the things that has affected as well is when you start seeing major buildings in the downtown area that go from privately owned to becoming non-profit, no longer on the tax rolls. Example would be the Space to Create building on Main Street. That is no longer on the tax rolls because it is
except for the commercial real
The
estate.
commercial side would be taxable, correct?
Yes, but the ownership is partial city of Trinidad, and since the city of Trinidad is a nonprofit, it is tax exempt.
right, and as well as the apartments as well, because they are tied in with the Trinidad housing.
So the Fox Theater will be the same.
Yes, the Fox Theater will be the same. So,
Ouch.
So when those things,
A good thing for the community, but ouch.
yes. So when those things occur, you're going to see that many off of the schedule, and it's going to be a hit on the tax increment that we collect. And we will talk about it as when we go into the regular meeting and we go to the financial statement or the financial information. I will give you a little bit more, but that is what I discussed with Assessor Jody Amato. So I will begin from this side again, Commissioner Howell.
Yeah, but we weren't collecting any TIF on those properties anyway for a very long period of time because they've been abandoned and not producing revenue. Is that correct?
Well,
Or were we?
we were.
Okay.
We were.
So that's part of this decrement.
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 That's what
Very
it's
good.
led to, but yeah, these were under private ownership, although vacant, and obviously their value, their assessed value was at a minimum, but there was a base value to it, and then there was an increment to it, albeit, not all that great because of condition, market value, and all the other factors that make that determination. But that is one of the things that she pointed out, is as these buildings that go from private ownership and on the tax rolls go to public ownership, nonprofit, that becomes an impact on the overall tax revenue for the ad valorem tax for the city itself, and then the TIF that we collect, which is that small amount above that.
I'll just add, the good thing for us is we've got a lot of projects that we can move forward that actually would be TIF ready, that actually would bring revenue in and would help in safety and economic development and those kind of things. So we have a lot of opportunities ahead of us. That's all I have.
Mr. Cochran.
Same thing, I just, we need to generate more TIF, right? That's the purpose of TURA, is to generate the funds. So I guess some of these projects that we can start looking at are probably high on our list.
TIF is the benefit that comes from the elimination of, I think they said, blight is not the word to be used.
Yeah.
We took away slum. Now they've taken away blight.
Okay.
Now there's new wording for it, and I don't remember.
Blighting conditions.
Blighting conditions.
Blighting
That's the
conditions
new
was the
wording
What is
for
it
it.
called?
Blighting conditions.
Blighting.
Blighting conditions. That's the politically correct word now.
But it doesn't really, I mean, TURA doesn't have to fall under that specific, if we want to get a project going, it doesn't have to fall under that specific term. That's kind of something we found out.
Well, it doesn't, but that's how, when you do these things, is how you justify to the public and the taxpayers that it's in the attempt to be able to remediate what appears to be blighting conditions.
And we've kind of done that with our area. In other words, we've taken, TURA has said this area is under, what was it?
Blighting conditions.
So a lot of Trinidad falls under that category.
It does, and
it allows us to move forward.
Right, and the condition study that was conducted by Ricker Cunningham in order for the Trinidad Urban Renewal Plan to be created and ultimately adopted, which was adopted by the Urban Renewal and the City of Trinidad, is because, I think I mentioned on the last time, they surveyed 5,100 parcels within the boundaries of the City of Trinidad and determined that within that some blighting conditions existed. And there are 11 factors, I believe, of blighting that if one of those is found, it used to be more than that, but I think it's one of those is found, it falls within that category. So of those 51 within that, but they're comprised with corporate limits within the corporate limits of the city. That's what the study did, and that information that I provided everybody in that volume, the Ricker Cunningham conditions.
Well, it shows the map of the area also, all the way up to 8th Street.
Well, the map that you're looking at, Commissioner Cochran, is related to the facade program.
Yes.
Okay. The facade program originally started out as a Corazon to Trinidad, and we were seeing very little applicants. There was no response to it, so we decided we would take it out. We considered quarter mile, third mile, half mile, all to remain within the corporate boundaries.
Right.
And so that map that you see, the red is a Corazon district, the quarter mile is at the quarter mile from any point to that. So that's what that is. So the actual plan, the plan document that's in that other one that I gave you, that one describes the plan area, which is the
entire city
of Trinidad.
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Lopez.
Okay, a little background on TIF and why I'm here and how I became a TURA board member. As a county commissioner, before I was in office, the Urban Renewal was being established years ago, and at this particular time, not that map there, but the TURA map, it went before the county commissioners pretty much in a hurry to attempt to get this accomplished. I think they were under the gun with Terra Marshall.
And it was in September.
1348. Yeah.
September 15th.
So the commissioners at the time, Mac Loudon, Anthony Matei, and Gary Hill, went ahead and moved forward with the Urban Renewal map of the entire city limits. Well, that kind of put some turmoil in with the assessor's office and the finance office and stuff, because now all of those buildings could be considered and come off the tax rolls. So at the time, the county was only receiving the mill levy, and that was it. So they had no sales tax revenues coming in, and they were also shut down 2 days a week. So, and at the time also, the city council didn't allow people outside the city residents to be part of these boards, and then they changed that, I believe.
No.
Was it before this?
There has to be at least five
But I was not a city resident, so I lived in the county.
Right, but there can be two outside.
Okay.
The ordinance that has passed requires five residents of the city of Trinidad that are to be seen.
So there was nobody from the county on this board, so I said I'll throw my hat in the ring, get on there, so I can bring back to the county what's going on here, and also bring to here what's happened at the county, so we'd have better working relationships moving forward. And I think it's been a good move for everybody because we can have these relationships with the county and with TURA and with the city moving forward. But that was one of the biggest issues for the county was these big commercial buildings or these properties going to be renovated, and they're not going to see any benefit from it. But the majority of the people didn't know we had this in the back of our mind to pass sales tax, and we ended up passing them. And we at the time, the commissioners at the time, myself, Matt Loudon, and Dean Moulter, were anticipating hopefully winning that. So the hope we would have these businesses such as the Toyota dealership and now the new Ford dealership that we put downtown and getting a chunk of change out of that. But at the time, the commissioners before me didn't see that way. All they saw was the mill levy being gone, the taxes coming in, the revenue.
Well, they were hard times.
They were very hard times. So we've come through a lot since I first got into office and what we're doing here. But that's just a little background of how I became a commissioner to the TURA board from the county, so we can have a better relationship moving forward, and they can have that dialogue between everybody. But it does take a drop in our revenue now with all the stuff that's happening at the state legislature and the bills that the governor signed for the tax increment funding across the entire state for the reduction in the RAR and the commercial rates, and under the Gallagher Amendment, how they can manipulate that now through the legislature will affect our TIF revenue. I mean, there's just a million moving parts to all of this stuff, and that's what I can kind of bring to the table with my knowledge with the assessor's office and the county commissioner. So that's all I have on the TIF, but no background.
Thank you. Commissioner Leone, please.
I think you've covered it pretty good. I can't add. I said I was going to ask you to explain a little bit more so Jerry would understand, because sometimes we get into stuff like TIF, and you're going, what's TIF? I can remember I had a book when I first started, and I had all these abbreviations and what they were, because I was lost.
And by the way, and I'm not interrupting, but just to let you know, that we were provided with, and I do have the downloaded copies, and I'll make sure it gets to you, the TIF 101 and TIF 201 trainings that have been available. I can't remember the date on the 201 that happened earlier.
201 was the other day.
We had 201, but 101, you got the copy of it as well. But I'm trying to remember when it occurred. I attended that one as well. So TIF is tax increment finance, and tax increment is the amount above the base established tax assessed on a property. Anything above that, albeit what was there is now about there, is what comes to Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority on certain properties that are in the boundaries of City of Trinidad, commercial and industrial. Okay. And we'll get some more into that. There's more to be had, and for your first meeting, it's and we went to a meeting the other day, or a session that really was helpful to it, probably, but there's still a lot more. But that's what the tax increment involves. Tax increment is our only, technically our only source of revenue, how we can operate, which would take care of administrative costs, to fund programs like the facade, or to assist with developers when they're needing to have some assistance with funds, although it doesn't necessarily mean it's money we have readily to hand to them, but that's our negotiating tool for them to undertake developments within the City of Trinidad. Commissioner.
Okay, I just, that's the only way we have funding is through TIF.
That is incorrect.
Okay.
We can also apply for loans. So if a developer comes into a situation where they look at a building in downtown Trinidad and it falls within our URA, then we can go to the assessor's office and talk to the county and say what's the estimated tax revenue that's going to come off of this building as it sits, and then as it would be if we redid it and made it workable. Say, let's just take the one here on the corner. Let's say we put 12 apartments in this thing and we put commercial units underneath it. Well, right now the tax revenue that's coming off of that building is negligible, right? It's probably hardly anything. So you take that baseline, and then if we can go to the bank and we can say, hey, we have a developer that wants to completely redo this building, and here's what the estimated tax is, and the difference is our TIF. And so we can get a loan from the bank under a guaranteed TIF, so that we're saying this is what we see it as, and the bank views that as a backed financial system.
Using future TIF revenue as
That's
collateral.
So that's one other.
But it's still TIF.
It's estimated TIF revenue for the future.
That's correct.
Based upon the development.
That's correct.
Which it could be a leveraging tool. And that could be taken to the bank to say, okay, a loan to be had to fill in a gap. It's not the entire project.
Right.
Okay, just so you know, it's not the entire project.
No. Multifaceted.
If a owner developer or a developer wants to undertake a project, you can't use project anymore. It's an undertaking.
Or an area, or what was it?
An activity.
Activity.
You can't use that. It would be an undertaking, which is the redevelopment of a building. And it's going to take $10 million. We'll use an example of $10 million to undertake the development of this. But to that developer, there might be $900 or $9 million available that they now got $1 million gap. In order to fill that gap, there are going to have to be loans or other sources of revenue for them to be able to say, well, we can go there. That's in the perfect world that before today, where you don't know what the supply chain and all the labor issues might have for you. So the thing is, okay, we've got a gap of about $1 million. How do we do that? So the projection of what may come about as a result of the finished product, there's going to be some TIF out there. And that would say, okay, that would be a backing for this loan, assuming that it all come together with the bank, allow that to happen. So that's where it becomes.
It's just another tool in the toolbox.
It's a toolbox, but it's not a guarantee.
No.
It's not a guarantee.
And often it's the developer that will go apply for the loan, not the URA.
Right.
Although the URA can actually
It's a risk mitigation.
do that. It's a risk mitigation. It's a lot less risky for us to say, hey, here's what we see the taxes as. You as the developer, will give you a letter stating this is what the TIF is. You go out and get that loan yourself. And
get reimbursed.
And we'll use the TIF in order to pay the loan back.
Well, there's administrative process after that. And it doesn't begin, and this is one thing that needs to be understood, that to realize the TIF that's going to come from any project, for it to come to fruition, could be a little bit into the future. The whole thing has to be, as we begin the process, the developer has to go through all the pre-development processes. That has to all come about. There has to be the negotiations. They have to come to some cost estimates. There has to be a lot of analytical work done on it. Ultimately, that's where it goes. Before the TIF is going to happen, the project has to be finished. They have to start creating that tax revenue, not only on the base, but what the TIF is. That number of years could be, it's not tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
No.
It's going to be a
take
while.
time, yeah.
So future generations of the Urban Renewal Authority will be the ones that realize that coming in, because it won't be an immediate process. It's just, one of those things. The example that I can give is we sold a piece of land last year. Well, it took from early 2020 till mid 2021 to get it to where it had to be for us to be able to sign off on it and sell it, or agree to sell it. It was November of 2021 where we actually signed the actual transfer instruments.
And that's another thing that the URA can do also, right? The URA can actually purchase real estate. If it has the funds available, it can purchase real estate. and then use the URA to possibly, and a developer to possibly upgrade that.
As an incentive to come on board.
That's
right.
right.
I would think a lot
sell
of
that real estate again to provide more income
Right.
into the URA. So we could actually make the URA could actually be a very
Well, that's
financially
you can think like a
stable.
developer with some of these tools, but
That's
keep in
right.
mind, some of these things actually require merit. So something like future projections,
And we're just
a
getting
project has
started.
to earn that sort of tool from us. They have to be a project that actually you look at and everybody can look and say, that's going. But I would think tools we would use prior to that would be maybe some grants, some things out there, because there are dollars on the sideline that really are set for that we don't have to use our funds, we can go
What
for grant
about
funds and bring that to it.
COVID relief money that came through, is that something that
Not a
would
lot
never?
of it.
Not for
I
us.
didn't see any of
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I was
There-
going to say, it might not, but it did affect some of our students in a good way. You know, they were able to benefit through that, and that's what I was thinking. I said, well, I know the city got some stuff because, some money because, you know, it helped with it wasn't LEAP, but they helped with
That wouldn't be a pool for us.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it has, that type of funding that you're talking about, it has defined, there are definitions of what it can be used for.
They have federal
Right.
guidelines
Yeah,
how.
so it can. But what basic and urban renewal is about, the basics are redevelopment
Through the
of
tax.
properties that are, the development or remediation of properties that would have the appearances of blighting conditions. And so you're trying to
But right,
Yeah.
take away what's not looking so good, making it better, making it productive, so that it is for the benefit of everybody.
the community and everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
And keep in mind too, if this board ever does enter that, or future boards, the legislature could change the TIF at any time, the increments, the Gallagher Amendment, the commercial rates, the residential assessment rates, all of that can be manipulated at the legislature where it can be dropped or raised. And
Well, it basically did. If you see that sheet.
we lost money. We lost 20
You saw
something.
that. We are right now at a probably 1/3 loss what we had, what we were getting. I'm on a rough estimate, and wish I'd have done this a year ago. And well, we're going to talk about budgeting because September's coming up. We got to start preparing a budget for 2023. What we had collected, and I worked on historical information, was in the $40,000 range. That, if it all goes to where it should, I'm thinking 25,000 this year, but for 2023, that could be south of $20,000. Just where we're getting now. Yes, there's projects that could be undertaken, and those things are going to happen, but for that tip to come back to the URA is going to be a while. What we're looking at now on our base increment, and it was estimated back in 2015. It was anticipated that it was going to be a few years before Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority started generating anything. We weren't getting much a couple of years ago. We had a conversation with the assessor and the treasurer, and it was determined that there was some miscalculations on the TIF, and we actually got some retroactive money, and it boosted. But that now, based upon legislation and other, I don't know if it's executive decision as well as the legislature, but the formula for creating or estimating TIF is gone, and I don't remember the number in there. I have it somewhere.
And Jody can give us more information on that.
Yeah, so it has. So it is it is in the big picture. It's not a lot of money, but for what we're trying to accomplish, because again, we work without an executive director, and if and when that can happen, and it's going to be negotiate with the city or whatever else, how we're going to be able to work that. But those are costs that we need to have. We have budgeted amounts for travel, training, legal, and those kinds of things. It's in the budget. Those are where we're generating it from. So as we go forward, depending on what we're going to do, those expenses, we have to consider those from month to month about whether or not we're going to, like we were talking, the necessity at some point of having, we don't have anything going on, but if we have to, we have an undertaking that we're going to need the services of an attorney. Those are going to come at a couple $250 an hour probably.
You know, we're a startup business, and that's what you do.
Yeah, well,
This is what you do.
well, yeah,
We don't wanna put
but at the same time, we're working with public funds.
Exactly.
And so, you know, I'm one that, you know.
We don't want to put an attorney on retainer, we just want
We're
to
not,
simplify the
that's
project.
not, I'm just saying, no, there's not gonna be an attorney on retainer.
Yeah.
There would be as services are needed, just like the
Roger.
consultant.
Right.
But it's one of those things is when those happen, and you can't project or forecast through the year what may happen, those are costs that we have to, you know, and we're pretty firm. I mean, we've got money in the bank, which is an accrual of what's been there, but we're not going to be able to revitalize that amount of money that's in the bank because we're seeing a lesser amount come. We'll have to even rethink about how far we're going to take that facade program into the future because it's basically capitalized based upon the tip that we're getting now.
Well, that's why it's very important to selectively and with priority, what projects can you do with where you are right now that actually have the best chance of returning TIF in the shortest amount of time.
Right.
And so there are projects that are out there that you would like to do, but they're 2 or 3 years to do it. It's kind of a lot of money pit things, and you're not going to get much TIF out of that. But there are other projects that I believe are out there that, quite frankly, we're funded well enough to be able to do that if we're prudent and we're frugal, you know, and we are good stewards of public money. I think there are projects out there that we can identify, prioritize, and fund, and bring the right experts to help us bring those to fruition. And I see that as a real opportunity. So I guess what I'm saying is I see great opportunities for us even with where we are right now with these deficiencies.
To generate more.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing is you know, in benefit to the community, and then it has to have some benefit for urban renewal as well.
Right.
In order to perpetuate is really what it all amounts
So
to.
we can't spend all our money and then be broke again.
Yeah. Again,
Well, what little money we have.
that won't happen.
Right.
In fact, that would be a violation of the state statute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything else on that? Again, I have invited and.
I thought she was coming today.
No, I think she could work it into her schedule, but
okay.
yeah, it will be in September. We did confirm that calendar, so she will be here and have your questions ready for her because she will give us an in-depth explanation on
Awesome.
the assessment procedure and the TIF. All right, moving on. Future project discussion. I did recently have a phone conversation with Mike Scholl of Ayers and Associates. He is the consultant that we use. He's on an on-call basis, so he basically charges us fees for when he spends time doing stuff for or on behalf of TURA. And we did use him extensively in the year 2020, late 2021, 20 and 21 in the sale of a piece of land that Urban Renewal sold to a developer. And so he did assist getting a lot of the contracts together, term sheets and everything else. So that is what we do with the consultant. Ayers and Associates, the gentleman that we work with is Mike Scholl. He did visit Trinidad last year in October. We went to, took him a tour around, including Cougar Canyon. So he's pretty familiar with Trinidad and actually works with several small URAs. So he did suggest, he said, you know, maybe do you want that I might put the feeder out to some of these property owners that are potential projects in Trinidad to give you guys a feeler and maybe, you know, get you some more. So that would be a possibility, but that wouldn't happen until I brought it in front of this board and got a consensus of how you feel about that, or do we want to take that on our own and make our own contacts and, you know, maybe then go on with him for what needs to happen there. He's what they call an urban specialist, and so he does have a lot of familiarity and knows urban renewal procedures. But we did have that conversation. He's the person, and his firm is on tap for payment tonight. He's the one that did that little survey and synopsis for us about how other communities relative in size to Trinidad are handling their administrative duties as an executive director or whatever else. But that's where it is, and I told him the conversation. He is familiar with Trinidad. In fact, he sort of promised that he would be down here again in the not too distant future, maybe even come to one of our meetings. We did a lot of Zoom meetings with him in the past, But I told them I would mention it to Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority to see what their thoughts are about it. You know, again, engaging in for those come with the hourly fee, and for that, you know, beyond if it's going to go in depth, that's something that urban renewal commissioners have to think about. That it doesn't have to be particularly at this particular time, but I want you to, you know what it is that I'm doing in the hours outside of this meeting.
We would be hiring him to help us find out what properties we could actually involve TURA in the city of Trinidad.
In short, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, it's one, and like I say, that was a conversation we had, and it was, you know, he said, I've got some out there, and he mentioned a couple. We actually went through the assessor's records and decided there were a couple that probably not for a couple of reasons, probably not here for discussion, but probably not a couple of good ones that would be candidates for, you know, based on ownership. But you know, that's one option that's out there. But you know, again, when we start talking about income, revenues, and expenses, when we do work with the consultant, it's going to come at a cost.
Right.
So you know, again, is you know, in our being wise, prudent, and cost conscious, that's what I bring up. But it's one where, you know, sometimes there are specialists out there, or experts that have a little bit better feel of, you know, they've shown projects that they've
Experience matters.
Yes.
That's the thought.
Is he able to write?
Comment?
We'll start with Commissioner, how that works this way.
So when I saw that that spreadsheet that Jody Amato provided to us, I looked at that and said, all right, there's our mailing list. With regards,
I'm on it.
With regards to that TURA letter that you had originally sent out a couple of years back. And so I'm thinking with regards to where we are on item 5 here, future project discussion, is to actually do some information gathering. So we get that letter, we update it, we send it to the people that are the businesses that are listed in there, with who we have addresses for, that are in our TIF plan area, right? We let them know that we're in operation, we're running that same way that letter that let folks know before. From that, I would like to see us, if we could have maybe a public meeting or two that actually gauges the input of our citizenry, the people that live here. Where would you like to be? And use those kinds of mechanisms to filter it down, to then provide him, almost do our own study without paying for an outside study. Do our own study of where things are, who the players are, who's interested in working with us, and from that, then bring somebody in that's a $150, $200 an hour thing, and say, this is the information we've gotten. Here's the input we got from property owners that are in our project area with regards to TIF. Some of them have identified that they would like to do something. We're going to be filtering them out. Some of them have said, please don't contact me again, right? And then the public has also looked at this and said, these are the areas that we'd like for you to actually pay closer attention to, or where we find safety issues, economic opportunities, and lighting conditions, right? And so from those things, I think we can do some of that stuff on the cheap to get some information gathering from which we better know, and then we can give it to our consultant. That's kind of the process that I'd kind of like to see us do.
Mr. Cochran.
I'm in agreement with not spending money when we can utilize the people that are here on this board to go out and talk on our own personal time and find out if there are commercial building owners that are interested in having TURA getting involved with their buildings and upgrades. I think that the general public doesn't know, and I know I didn't until we went to this seminar, that we can do a lot more than what the general public probably thinks we can, as far as upgrades, as far as bringing buildings up to code. There's just a whole bunch of things that the URAs can help finance and help get involved in, and I don't think 90% of the building owners probably do not know what the URA can actually do. So maybe, like you were saying, but maybe along with that letter, we have some kind of an explanation that says, hey, these are the things that
Direct them to a website, direct them some more
something
information, that kind of thing.
and then we're not spending money on a consultant to come in and tell us who's available. We're actually utilizing the public out here to tell us who's available, and letting them get involved. Like you said, a website, the DCI, great information. I could just copy the project package that they gave us and put that on the website.
There are success models out there already.
It would
we can leverage.
explain in great detail what we can do. So, yeah, I would say let's not spend any money whatsoever except for copy costs and that kind of stuff, and use our own personal board members to canvass the pavement, direct people to a website. Maybe we spend a little bit of money to have a website specifically designed for this information package for building owners, commercial developers, that kind of stuff, so that they can go click and then there's all the information. And I think that's pretty inexpensive to have someone put together
Well, getting public input and getting public buy-in is going to be very critical when you actually take a project and you take it to the public and say, this is what we're going to do with your money. So I think communicating more with folks, right? Opening up our dialogue, being very open, being very easily to get into. I think it's going to be very important when we decide to actually do some things.
Well, and those contacts that are made, I mean, when you discuss it with the building owners and or whatever are going to be developers, is, you know, it's to let them know what possibilities of what TURA can do, but the expectations of them as well, because they're skin in the game.
Yep.
It's not. It isn't that here we are. We're here with a package of money. These are things that can be done that you know. Have you thought of them? And this is where TURA can be. If we're a part of it, they are going to be the bigger part of it.
Yep.
And so that's one of the things that convincing a property owner is. You know, it's like, okay, we can do these things, but how much of this do you want to be a part of? That's when they may say, we need to part ways now, as you mentioned.
Right.
Commissioner Lopez.
Good ideas. Like to hear. I'm glad you guys are able to make the meetings and get the ground running. So I kind of concur with not spending any money. I do, however, caution us as board members being boots on the ground, especially myself in the position that I have with the 10 other boards that I sit on. As business owners for Sophie and myself, Mr. Bagley as well, sometimes that tends to be a little unacceptable from people in the community.
Completely understand.
Because it could hurt your business. But I do like the idea. So it's not so website, letter, mailings, these things. But also, I think possibly letting Mr. Scholl do a presentation via Zoom would also be a good idea to see what he has to offer, what it would incur. That way we have a broader picture of everything, so we can make a decision based on the expense versus this idea versus what other ideas you may have, and we can come to a better consensus with more options. That would be my recommendation. Having a professional project engineer that knows this industry in the bigger cities and stuff might have us might not be needed at a 50 or 100% venture or in a work relationship. It might be a 25% input on how to guide this group, how to move forward. So I would like to see him at our work session doing a quick presentation of what this type of service would incur and what the cost would incur.
And just to be clear, I'm not against us spending money. So I'm for spending money prudently. So I agree with you. Yeah.
Commissioner Leone.
I thought that was right on. I think that's exactly what we need to do. Period.
Commissioner Bagley.
Having worked on a couple projects downtown, URA never came in. I never heard anything about urban development, nothing. From major, historical society, we talked about, getting some windows that would meet certain criteria. But no one ever mentioned the possibility of getting any type of funds We worked on the McCormick building, we worked on a couple other buildings downtown and stuff. The Johns building was a college project for a contractor. None of that ever came up, and I'm just saying it's, maybe they left some money on the table there, you know, without some opportunities. And I would say I'm being, as the budget is tight, as we're hearing, I would say to do as many things as we can, you know, as far as, you know, not getting somebody coming in and say, oh yeah, if you do this, this, and this. But I would just like to say, you know, some of these folks I know don't know that what's available. I know, like you're saying, the skin in the game. I don't think some of these people, they already have skin in the game if they're calling me. I mean, they're already ready to do something. And so some of those type of things could have been to their advantage. And now I'm on this board, and I'm looking, I'm just going, wow, you know, some of these people had an opportunity that they didn't take advantage of. So how does that word get out? So.
Well, just as an FYI, because the projects that you're referring to, Jerry, predate the revitalization
That's
of the renewal.
Okay.
So those happened, you know, urban renewal wasn't revitalized till December 1st of 2000.
And this means I'm old too.
Yeah, and so its activity, there was a lot of just, you know, step by step to 2016, because that was, you know, there were a lot of things going on, including the negotiations with the county commissioners as to what buildings were going to be the ones that were going to be subject to the TIF. And so, yeah, there are people that are out there that don't know. And again, you know, when they do find out what it is, you know, we want to be a fit with it. So, you know, getting that word out there is a big thing. The explanation to them of, you know, yeah, we're there, we're a component of it.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be everything to it. But we that, you know, again, catalyst was used a lot the other day. Right? So, you know,
I like that word.
That could be the catalyst that says, yeah, I'd like to do it. And when that person does it, the guy down the street says, well, look what happened there. I would like to be doing that too. I've got some room for improvement. So that's where those are the benefits.
Right. Okay.
Great.
Okay, anything else on that? Item number 6, Downtown Colorado Incorporated. I had a Zoom meeting with Kat Corral, the executive director of DCI, on the 25th of July. And like we had talked last month, that she had mentioned that quite possibly we could have a meeting. She's even offered to come down and do, if we can, a TIF 101 for the board members here. They can come down and actually provide that to us. And if we wanted to open it up to make it non-exclusive to us, we could host it. And other URAs such as Walsenburg would come and be able to attend. Same with us. So it would be a multi URA session. And so she's trying to do the logistics on that and see if that's a possibility. She hadn't heard anything back from the Walsenburg URA yet. She was going to do some more on that. We had a very brief conversation before Tuesday's meeting, so she's still going to work on it, but that's still a possibility for the future.
Would they want to hold a meeting in Walsenburg?
If they want to do it there as well, but it takes some kind of hosting, and it would be...
Council of Governments has a boardroom that I'm sure we can use if needed, so I can arrange that.
Yeah, so we'll see where that comes about, but I guess it's still a consensus that we could meet with at least, you know, make it public. It could be Walsenburg or whoever, and in the outlying areas want to come, and it would be a combination of maybe commiserating and getting a TIF 101 if we put those all within one. But that, she said, that could be available, and you know they could put it all together. But the logistics are not yet worked out.
Love the idea.
Okay. Anything else on that?
I think DCI is probably one of our best advocates for teaching us
Resources.
It is the best.
It
is the best.
So in that short little 4-hour seminar that we had, and they went over a lot of material, but they showed us what we can do, and then they showed us how they did it, and that is fantastic. I mean, we saw actual projects go from ground zero to groundbreaking and up and running in a fairly short amount of time. And these are all little cities that are just about the same size as us. So these guys are indispensable.
Well, no, they're quite bigger than us. Wheat Ridge,
Yeah.
Golden.
They're right.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, but you can take their big
Well, yeah,
and minimize a little bit, and we can actually bite those off.
No,
They showed
yeah.
some Walsenburg
Yeah.
and some other little guys.
Yeah, what they've done, I mean, obviously the populace and what they have, you know, it works out good. But to see their success stories creates that vision for us that, hey, we may not be able to achieve that, but we can go after a portion of it.
So the
And
DCI
I would be up for any DCI, anything that they want to do, especially if it was here in Trinidad, and have the public open, have it open to the public.
Yeah.
So if you-
Well, it would be like open to the public, but it would be what we're
Business
talking
owners.
about. It would be other URAs that if, you know, we're particularly talking like at Walsenburg, if we want to, because we would be doing a URA training. So
Right.
the public themselves wouldn't, but if they wanted like Lamar, Lahana, or other small cities in the south end of the state that would want to do that, if we want to go beyond just having a Trinidad Urban Renewal training with TIF 101, we want to say, yeah, we can invite other ones. So
Absolutely.
Can I comment on my DCI experience as well?
Why don't we hold that till commissioners?
Okay, sounds
Commissioner
good.
comments.
Sounds good.
Commissioners. Have I got around the table?
Yeah.
I've got around. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 7, the Americana Road Project pay estimate number 6. Provided you with all that information. I'll give you a little bit of little more background on this. Okay, so Purgatory Valley Construction pay request number 6 and change order number 8 for a total amount for this past work period, which would have been through the month of July, $232,016.18. The documents were reviewed by the city of Trinidad. Applicable adjustments made by Jenny Jackson, the City of Trinidad project manager. All required approvals and signatures are expected. And I got to apologize for the typo. That should have been 8/11, which is today's date. I do have, and I put it on everybody's seating place today, a copy. The only signature to be affixed will be that of mine once we approve that, and it will go to payment cutting of checks, which will be dispersed on Monday when the finance director is back in Trinidad. Just to let you know that what this is all about, the Americana Road project involves the creation of Americana Road, which is where the Hilton Garden Inn is under construction. It includes the public works improvements, which is a substantial sewer line project that occurred, a water line that is still probably in progress, and those things, the total contract price. And if you see it, because it is listed in the documents, at that time it was in excess of $2.5 million. It will probably go somewhat higher than that as time is going on, because supply chains issues and those things have taken things. That's why the change orders have happened as well. So that is an activity that Trinidad Urban Renewal is a part of. That was the very first one that we are undertaking. It does involve TIF and the cooperation agreement. So there is going to be a reimbursement of TIF to that project down there once it gets to the point where it is creating TIF. I will get you all the copies. I believe Commissioner Lopez and Commissioner Leone, you were on the board when that those agreements were signed and approved. So you have those copies, but I will get you all copies of those agreements as well. We are at the point that we are now, we're in the development side of it. And so the development agreement is a part of which the monies that you're seeing here, this is not TURA money at this particular point. It's comprised of the $900,000 that I mentioned last month. That was
A pass-through, right?
Well,
We're kind of a pass-through on most
yeah,
of this,
we're
right?
the administrator of the funds.
Got it.
Okay, those are the funds associated to that construction project. There was $1 million grant by DOLA, $900,000 by the project owner, La Puerta, and then $600,000, I believe, by the city of Trinidad. So those monies that the owner developer or the developer has asked for reimbursement, it was allowed in a cooperation agreement. They will get TIF back, which is comprised of the TIF that they generate from their project in the business improvement district, as well as 2.25% sales tax that the city authorized return to them as far as in the cooperation agreement.
Is that a 25-year run on TIF?
It was. Now it's at 20.
Yeah, with that
1 year
Yeah,
now.
20, okay, very
Yeah,
good. That's the 5 year,
yeah.
yeah, got it.
The development agreement, I think, became effective June 29th. The final sign off by TURA, its approval was June 29th, 2019.
Okay.
It escapes me the
It was
exact
right
date.
after we
But,
started.
but it's, yeah.
So that was the reason for the commissioners having such a concern of not being on the tax rolls for 20
I can see.
Yeah. So we are involved in that activity. Okay, so it's not like we've never done anything. We are involved in it. So TURA is a part of what's there. TURA will, again, the cooperation agreement does allow for the TIF to be given back to the developer. And the city of Trinidad also agreed to a return of sales tax generated in that district of 2.25%. It's all written, it's in the signed cooperation agreement. Which is, as you'll remember, it was explained the other day, that's how these developers, this is what.
It's a success. That's how it's supposed to
That's
work,
enticement to get the developers to do what they do with the elimination of blighting conditions.
Right.
It worked. Yeah.
So, yeah, so we do have a, that's what that all involves. This is the initial part of it on the development agreement, the part where we are, if you want to call it, the trustee and the bursar, whatever you want to call it, of the funds. But once the project is done and it goes to the next stages, there's TIF to be had, that will be another function that we will have to take on to create a special account, so that when the request for the reimbursement of TIF comes, we will be doing that on a monthly basis. Any questions? Item number 8, and I got to thank Brittany for, when I gave her all the stuff, I had forgotten to put the last item on, which is always there, items for future work session discussion. I think we said stuff tonight, I think.
I've got something to pass to other folks with regards to that item.
Okay.
And I'll just pass these down. We don't need to go, not going over these right now. I just wanted to, I did a little mind dump with regards to that item.
Well, yeah, and I appreciate that, because I think that was when last month when we said it,
That's exactly
please
right.
bring it to me in writing, because.
I think you invited me to do exactly this.
Yeah.
So at another time, we don't need to jump in this now.
Okay.
It was for future.
All right, appreciate that. And I see you use that good quality paper too.
Yeah, except for that number 10 bone.
That must not be recycled. All right then, is there anything else? And if we need to discuss, Commissioner Hollett has provided something, we'll go over that, and from that we can decipher how many at a time we want to put on an agenda. I don't know, we would address them all in one session.
Not at all, yeah, exactly.
But again, with help from commissioners, again, I begin preparing, putting all this stuff together, I think about this all month long, and then the Wednesday prior, in the week prior to the meeting that we had like last week, I began on this on August the 3rd, trying to get it all put together and packed for distribution on Friday. So if there's anything that you would like me to get on here for the discussions, please contact me as soon as you can, prior to Wednesday, the week before the meeting, so that I can start formulating, because this has to.
I hear a need for an administrative assistant.
Well, I'm seeing that right here in this, what is it, number 3? It's
Yeah.
right.
Just as an FYI, 'cause it is very helpful, because I was trying to work for recording, and my notes, sometimes the handwriting, I don't make sense of it.
A lot of respect for what you do,
Just
sir.
for all you know. Okay then, is there anything else? Then, it is 6:38 p.m. according to my electronic device. This is the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Today is Thursday, August the 11th. This is the regular meeting. Call to order. Item number 1 is roll call.
Bacon,
Bigley.
Oh, yes.
Here.
Here.
Cochran,
Here.
Howard,
Here?
Leone,
Here?
Lopez,
Here.
Grego.
Here. I can say 6:38, right?
That's correct.
Item number 2, approval of the minutes from the July 2002, I think it's July the 14th, 2002, meeting of Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Everyone was provided an advance copy of those minutes in the agenda that was distributed. With that said, is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Motion
I
by
will second that.
Commissioner Howlett to approve, with a second by Commissioner Leone. Are there any further questions or comments? Roll call.
Higley,
Here.
Yes.
Yes.
Cochran,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes?
Leone,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Grego.
Yes. Item number 3, acceptance of the financial report. Again, that information is provided in advance for everyone. Is compiled by Brittany on the, at the date that this is distributed, so it's as up to date as it can possibly be. Is there a motion? Motion to approve?
Motion to approve the financial report.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Lopez, who did the second?
I did.
Commissioner Howlett with the second. Are there any questions? Comments? I would like to add a comment, just to let you know, if you look at the numbers based, compared, in July 31st, 2022 versus the June 30th, 2022, the amount that we saw come in totaled in that month $2,381. So the revenue in that month, we'll make it here. So we're at current revenue to years $21,501 to the next nearest dollar. Any further questions, comments? Roll call. Oh, I'm sorry, no,
Are we still not doing QuickBooks?
we are.
Is that a QuickBooks?
QuickBooks is the bookkeeping system. This is how it's transferred over. Brittany creates this every
Okay.
month. But yeah, the bookkeeping is actually
As
done
done
by
on
QuickBooks.
QuickBooks. Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
yeah. I'm sorry. Anybody else? Roll call.
Higley,
Yes.
Cochran,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes?
Leone,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Grego.
Yes. Item number 4, consideration of bills. And item A, Purgatory Valley Construction regarding the work in the most recent month of July for the amount of $232,016.18. A copy of the pay request and the change order, which is included in that pay request, was provided to commissioners in the agenda packet. I hope everyone had a chance to read all of those pages of line. And just an FYI, I mentioned it earlier, there is an email in there from Jenny Jackson, the city project manager, that did go through those and make corrections if needed. So everyone, as of today, as of 4 o'clock today, all the required signatures except for those which would be by me, chairman of TURA, are appear on that, and based upon the approval tonight, my signature will be affixed on it, presented to the city project manager and the finance department for the issuance of the checks. Motion?
Motion to approve Purgatory Valley Construction Americana Road project for $232,016.18.
Motion by Commissioner Lopez, is there a second?
Second that.
Commissioner Leone on the second. Any questions, comments? Roll call.
Higley,
Yes.
Cochran,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes?
Leone,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Grego.
Yes. Item number 4B, invoice from Ayers and Associates in the amount of $1,188. And that is a total approved for the month of June and July. There was not a presentation for, or I didn't provide anything for payment in the month of July because I had not been given an invoice by Ayers and Associates. So when I requested this month that he provided, he said, by the way, I didn't get a check for the month of June. So if that's an accrual for 2 months. So that amount that you'll be seeing is for services provided during the month of June, which was a minimal amount, I think of $211, and then the $900 for that synopsis that he provided us. So the amount to be considered is $1,188. $88. Is there a motion?
A motion to approve Ayers and Associates invoice for $1,188 even.
I have a motion by Commissioner Howlett to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lopez. Are there any further questions or comments? Roll call.
Bagley,
Yes.
Cochran,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Naomi,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Grego.
Yes. Item number 5 is petitions or communications, oral or written. So I ask, is there anyone present in chambers tonight, or is anybody on attending via go-to meetings that would like to address the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority? I will ask once again, is there anybody present or is there anybody attending via go-to meetings that would like to address the Trinidad Renewal Authority? Let the record reflect that there is nobody that is either present or online that would like to address the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Item number 6, old business. We have one item, consideration of payment for the facade improvement incentive to Southern Colorado Repertory Theater Main Street Live. I've noted it on there as $1,996.25. This represents the amount of 25%, which is relative to the reduced cost of the project by the other painting contractor at $7,985. That 25% noted at $1,996.25 is 25% as explained or outlined in our facade program policy document and the application.
I make a motion to pay Southern Colorado Respiratory Theater, Main Street Live, $1,996.25.
Is there a second?
A second?
There is a motion by Commissioner Leone to accept authorized payment, $1,996.25, with a second by Commissioner Howlett. Are there any questions or comments?
Sure looks good.
It does.
It really does.
If not, roll call.
Bagley,
Yes.
Cochran,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Naomi,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Grego.
Yes.
Can I make a comment on that?
You may.
Okay. I just wanted to say it's amazing what a little paint can do.
Yes, ma'am.
Just
Well-
painting. I mean, they didn't do a lot, but it looks like they did tons.
Well, with it, there were some things that were necessary, like caulking at the
Yeah.
base and places where the water could have
Rock wood,
entered.
that kind of-
Yeah, so there were some things that went, the paint looks great and the other work as well, so, yeah, it was nice.
And the signs in the window.
And the sign, thanks to you. All right, item number 7, new business. Election of a vice chair. And as I noted earlier in comments, and everybody is aware, with the departure and with the resignation and departure of Commissioner Carol Bolton, who was previously the vice chairman, that leaves the open position. And we are required, both by statute and by the bylaws we have, that we have a vice chairman. With that being said, I hope everybody's given that some consideration. And at this point, the floor is open for nominations.
I make a motion that Commissioner Lopez for vice chair.
I'll second that.
Is that something you would like to take on?
Sure. Ed hasn't missed a meeting in
Yes.
3-4 years I've been here, and I don't see it ever happening. And if it does, basically, he's got everything set up beforehand, so I wouldn't have an issue. But thank you for asking.
Are there any other nominations? Nominations are closed. The nomination of Luis Lopez by Commissioner Leone was seconded by Commissioner Bailey. Roll call, please.
Bailey,
Yes.
Crawford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Leone,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Grego.
Yes.
Thank you for trusting in me to, if he's missing, I could take his spot, so thank you, appreciate it.
Well, congratulations.
Fortunate.
I think I just might take some.
Might take some time
Next
off.
month off.
Speaking of a day off.
Tell you from forward.
I only remember one time you not being here, and Commissioner Bolton had to take it over. She did an excellent job.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I missed one in 7 years, and I don't remember. No, more than that. I remember Commissioner Lackey as vice chairman took it one time. I looked in the archives, and I do see it when it is where she was the one that
Almost
chaired.
perfect attendance.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
I get a sucker for that, don't I? Item number 8, reports by executive director. And as we all know, there is no executive director currently in position. But at this point is where I inform you what I've done. You've seen basically by the agenda that I've provided that you see what my activity has been over the last month. I was able to attend the presentation by Downtown Colorado Incorporated, aka DCI, which was day before yesterday in Wheat Ridge. I found it very informative, just like all other sessions they put together. I mean, they are, the travel part was it is not that big. It was in Wheat Ridge, so it's northwest corner of the metro area. But it was nice. I was there with Commissioner Hollett and Commissioner Cochran, and I think we gleaned a lot of information from it. So it was nice. I have some printed materials that I will be able to get sent to everybody. Well, you all have it, so I can say to there. Well, we'll get it to everybody, but it was nice. It was informative, and again, quite possibly we might be able to arrange to have a 101 in-person session in Trinidad. So I'll keep everybody posted on that. So that really is the only thing. And one thing I did not mention, and I said I would keep it on the work session agenda till we had a full sitting board. Again, we have one vacancy, which I thought that was about a month ago. I was pretty jubilant that we were going to have a full sitting board, but that is not the reality at this point. But we do have one open position, so everybody keep that in mind, and as you're out there.
I would prefer another female.
I'll have a recommendation, I believe, and yes, it will be.
Any age, if that's where we're going to go. Okay.
I just wanted to ask, our new city manager?
Let me conclude, and then I'm going to go to reports of commissioners. Okay. So that is where I am done. So I will go ahead now. We will begin, and this time I'll start on this side of the room. Commissioner Bailey.
Thank you for just letting me drop in really and just kind of feel my way through this. And but as far as any reports, I'm like I say, honored to be here tonight and to hear and to be part of this board.
Thank you. Commissioner Leone.
I think we should invite the new city manager to one of our meetings.
Great idea.
Has he started yet?
26th.
I don't think he started yet.
No, but I'm going to be one of our meetings. Let's just invite him.
Yeah, he started.
Future meeting.
And who is that, by the way?
Ed? No, what's his name?
I forget. I met him.
Brittany.
I went to the meet and greet they had the week that they were interviewing, and he's
I don't remember his name either.
very, very nice gentleman. I think he's going to be an asset to the city of Trinidad, and I look forward to it. He begins, I believe, if not next week, the following week. I think it's the last week of
August 22nd.
August 22nd.
What
What's his name, Brittany?
Wrong person asked. I can't remember right off the top of my head.
I'm trying to remember my way home right now, so. Well, that will happen. That will happen. And you know, I think probably most city managers find it wise for them to be able to sit to all of them, and you know, at some time, you know, there's value added. So yeah, no, I will make sure that he attends. Not attends, but I will extend the invitation. Mr. Lopez.
Not a whole lot to report other than we had our TPR meeting that I'm a member of.
TPR?
The Transportation Planning Region.
Right.
And it was asked, Mayor Rico was in attendance, and Aaron Williamson is a board member as well, the TPR. And we were discussing with CDOT of adjusting or amending the 10-year plan. CDOT denied that request due to the fact it takes a long time to get these plans in place. And the reason for the request was for a multimodal station up at the across from J&J Motor and the Ed Bell station, possibly looking into purchasing and investing and moving forward with a multimodal station. At this time, CDOT said we can look at it at a later date. However, the city can choose to do so if they like to do so. But I'd like to also remind this board that I'm also on the Front Range Passenger Rail. That train has not been determined yet if it's going to come to fruition on the taxing district. As of yet, it's still in the fruition of making the bylaws of that board and that organization, as well as the Southwest Chief has still not been 100% determined it will continue its route to Trinidad. Wow. The byway train might just go from La Habana to Pueblo and north. So there's a lot of stuff that's in the works still, but I thought I'd report that it was mentioned at this TPR meeting of a multimodal station here, which would also possibly be part of the TIF and the taxing funding if it was gone privately done, or if it was done by the city of Trinidad. If it goes by the city of Trinidad, of course, its ownership would not be on tax roll, so you lose properties there again on tax roll. So I just thought I'd mention to this board that there is some long-term plans for multimodal organizations and transportation needs for this community, but at this time it was denied to amend the 10-year plan, but it doesn't mean it can't be added in a year or two for the following plans. So that's all.
Thank you. Commissioner Cochran.
I don't have anything except for that we attended that DCI meeting, and I can't rave about it enough. I think we should all attend as many of their conferences and meetings as we possibly can, and soak up all that information and learn what some of these other cities are doing and how they're going about it, because we can use them as role models for Trinidad. I was impressed, very impressed. That's all I have.
Same. So I'm really appreciative to the chair, because that package you gave us really helped us. So we've been able to fast track a little bit the package, how the board onboarded us. This is a credit to the board. How you onboarded us for letting us for that information. Being able to go through that information, then go through a training that we had was just excellent. Okay, I feel a lot more comfortable having done that. Okay. And then it was really great Trinidad was well represented. We had the most representation there of any place in the state, which was really good. We were able to kind of grab a lot of the attention of some of the experts and professionals there that took things we were doing down here as the case studies when they were going through some of the training, which was really good. It was great to see our chair so appreciated, and the relationships that you can just see that he's created with the people that are there.
That was the janitor.
Now they did know each other really well, and this is Sweetbridge. I thought he'd never even been here before and knows the janitor. So a testament. But that was actually really good to see that we're very well connected, and I think the biggest thing I came from there, besides just the knowledge that Commissioner Cochran shared, was the connection opportunities. And so you notice things, there's going to be knowledge transfer and you're going to get educated, but you really get a chance to meet some folks and say, okay, I need to talk to that guy or that gal again because of what they're doing. And so it was a really great experience. I'm appreciative that we belong to DCI. It's a good investment. and membership. So thanks.
And just by the way, our membership with DCI, we have tried the coattails in the city of Trinidad. They do have a membership which then allows the boards and commissions that
Right.
is applicable to it.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so it does. We could be individually, but there would be a duplication of costs. So that's what it is. But the DCI, I gotta concur, is one heck of a resource. And again, they have their weekly or their monthly call-in or their weekly thing, but it was yesterday morning. And I was on my way back to Trinidad at the time that they had it going on, but those things are available online on a monthly basis, and you get to hear and share information with other URAs throughout the state, so it's usually pretty well attended. So I'll work on getting everybody the link that you can get in there, but it is because of DCI membership for the city of Trinidad, which brings us on, you're able to get in. You'll get your individual logins and codes, but very nice. And it was nice to see commissioners up there as well. And most times in the past, it's been not been effective.
You also look too?
Yeah, it's been, yeah, and it's one of those things where, again, sometimes people with you can bring more information. You just sit there like dumbfounded, it's like, okay, what did I forget to say today? So you've got other people, so it's a good backup source. So it was really nice, and again, there will be more opportunities, and I'm going to try to get, if I can work with DCI to have that opportunity happen in Trinidad. We're very close to Trinidad. All right, that said, we are item number 10, which is usually the most popular of the evening. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Who'll be good to that? We're going to call it Commissioner Lopez with the second, Commissioner Leone. Are there any questions, comments regarding that? It is 7 p.m. We will call this meeting, if there are no dissenting votes, we will call this meeting adjourned.
Did you know David?
Thank you,
Conference
everybody.
is no longer being recorded.